Hello. Welcome back to the MichaelSisco show. It's been a while since the last stream. I took last week off, and we have the pleasure of being graced with the presence of Rebecca, aka Dissident Mama. Welcome back to the show. I think it's been a while since you've been on too, hasn't it?
Been a while, but I think it's my third or fourth time, so I feel very privileged to be here.
You get me on Casual Tuesday, so
Yeah.
but at least we got the my Emperor. This is my proper label lapel here, my logo. Emperor Cisco. So hang on, I'm putting this on Telegram that we're live since I didn't have time. But what have you been up to, Dissident Mama? What's new with you?
I mean, in general, raising my 3 boys and navigating this insane world we live in and trying to build a fellowship and a mission and get some exercise. All those things.
Well, I have not prepared very well for this because this was kind of impromptu. I'm like, let's do I get back in town. I went to Texas for a very wonderful trip. I actually went to Father John Whiteford's parish. I got to meet him in real life, and somebody else very important. But yeah, it was fun. Good times. I got barbecue. I got to have the barbecue, and the Tex-Mex in Texas is on another level.
Oh yeah.
So
did you know my husband's a Texan?
Yeah, I think you told me before.
Yeah.
What part of the state is he from?
Outside of Houston, Pasadena. Stinky Dina.
So the area, I was in that area. I don't think I went there, but so Lupe Tortilla, get those spicy chicken tacos. That was legit. That was very legit. So looking forward to going back at some point. However, it was kind of depressing looking around and there not being mountains everywhere. So that kind of hit me. That hit me a little bit. I can't say it's quite like West Virginia, but
wild, wonderful West Virginia. It is a beautiful place.
I enjoyed my time. So what's up, brother? Oh, we got brother Nathaniel. That's the real one too, by the way. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Actually, let me have to set Entropy up.
Did you lose me for just a second? Because I lost you. Is it on my end?
Oh, it must have been on my end. I mean, I didn't lose you. So
you were talking about Lupe Tortilla, and that's the last I heard for a few seconds.
Oh no! If you're in Texas, you got to go to Lupe Tortilla.
Okay.
I had the spicy chicken tacos.
All right.
They're not a sponsor of the show, I promise.
Okay.
But
sure.
Hang on. I'm just setting up the Entropy. But you're here to talk. We're gonna do a little follow up on the episode I did a couple weeks back with Father John and
Clark Carlton.
Sorry. What was his name? I can't remember.
Carlton.
Clark, yeah, Dr. Clark. Dr. Clark Carlton. So we're just going to do a little follow-up on that, and then maybe talk about something else that I know that interests you, which is the Charlottesville thing, and then take some calls. But why don't you... So before, when I did that episode, the website hadn't launched yet. I should put it in the chat. But
SouthernOrthodox.org. Yep. We bought that domain before we even had a web designer, so I'm very excited we got that.
Nice. So I guess what we can do is we'll just kind of pretend like that interview never happened. So I know it wasn't quite your idea, but you're the one that kind of took it by the horns and ran with it. What exactly is the Ludwell Fellowship? What's the full name of it? I know it's SouthernOrthodox.org. Give us the rundown.
Okay, the Ludwell Orthodox Fellowship, and he's Philip Ludwell III. And Clark told you kind of about him, but So yeah, we could just call it the Ludwell Fellowship or whatever. LOF if people are into their acronyms. But the deal is Dr. Donald Livingston, who is famous philosopher, probably one of the most preeminent experts on secession in the living world, runs the Abbeville Institute with Clyde Wilson and Brian McClanahan and a bunch of great people. I got to know him actually at an Abbeville conference. Long story short, he saw the cross I was wearing right here and asked me if it was Byzantine. And then that led into this discussion of Orthodox Christianity. And turns out he was an Orthodox Christian too. The next day, I am at a church with him, attending liturgy and then being rushed to the front of the line because I'm hanging out with Dr. Livingston at his parish and we're visitors and he gets us to the front of the line. So we've been fast friends ever since then because we not only have a kinship and a bond through loving Southern culture and Southern history, but we're both Orthodox Christians. So anyway, he's kind of been a mentor to me. And somewhere along the way, I think it was, fall 2018 or something, he says, "Hey, Rebecca," he's got this great accent, "Rebecca, darling, these gentlemen I know have this idea about having a Southern Orthodox fellowship, kind of targeting Southern people for Orthodoxy. What do you think about that?" And I'm like, "Well, this is awesome." So he starts, attaching it, sending me emails with all these people, these lawyers and philosophers and, highbrow people talking about this thing. And, I'm just a little housewife here and I'm thinking this is a great idea. It needs to happen. And people kept talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. And I kind of specialize in being a nag. So I said, let's make it happen. And here we are today. We made it happen. I almost jumped off a bridge a few times because of it, but we're here and it's going to be awesome.
A housewife? A nag? How could that be?
Yeah.
How could that be? Just kidding.
Well, when I hear good ideas and they're not moving forward and there's a lot of bluster and talk, I'm like, let's move it down the track, fellas. So I hope to move it down the track.
Yeah. Well, what was it? You said, "Hey, this is a good idea." Why do you think that it was necessary, and how do you think it's progressing in its launch towards that goal?
Well, I think it's necessary because I want everybody to be Orthodox. So that's where my starting point. And I love the South. It is my home, and I see the South as just brimming with people who have a unique Southern experience that is ripe for Orthodoxy. Even before COVID and stuff like that, just the march of the 20th century has kind of left what I call the archetype, conservative, white, Southern, Christian, straight people, just kind of in the lurch. They're kind of been abandoned. They're yearning for having a relationship with Christ, but they've kind of been cast aside to the periphery. So, and then you throw on just the march of cultural Marxism, COVID, all this kind of stuff. There are just a lot of people in the South who feel abandoned. And I want them to know that Orthodoxy is there for them. And I think Orthodoxy on the flip side is just ripe for growing in the South because of our history, as Flannery O'Connor says, this is kind of the go-to line, the Christ-haunted people, not Christ-centered, but Christ-haunted, that we're familiar with the Gospels. People reference Jesus. Most people have read the Bible, may have a Bible in their house, but they feel disillusioned by maybe a Protestantism or whatever brand of, loosey-goosey Christianity they grew up with. So this is kind of, and Southern people, there's a lot of characteristics of the Southern people that I think are good for Orthodoxy. They like customs, tradition, typically order and hierarchy, things like this, which would mesh well with Orthodoxy. And then Orthodoxy to them, they're just sitting there right for the picking. And I mean, it's like a mission-based thing that it would work symbiotically together. That's how it was for me. One of the things that pulled me into Orthodoxy was its respect of history. And, I think once people get into that, and then because they're yearning for like unapologetic, authentic truth, that's there too. And it's just kind of like meeting all these needs as you're going along, not only tapping into the people who are already here, right? Tapping into the native population that is yearning for Christ, but also, spreading Orthodoxy in a place that I think it is fertile to grow anyway. Did I say that right? The point is, it's symbiotic and it's going to work in concert is my thinking. And I think it already has been, because you probably know this better than I do, but I think the only place that Orthodoxy is really growing in the U.S. is in the Southern United States. Before the Ludwell Fellowship, it was already happening. So we're just trying to tap into that.
Yeah. Now that's one thing that did come up that I found was particularly interesting in the interview with Dr. Clark and Father John, was that they kind of hit on the North being part of this like Puritan utopian vision, which turned into modern progressivism. And that clashed with the South's kind of Southern, they called it Southern religiosity. But it seems like the South kind of maintained, a metaphysical Christian worldview, and you just kind of hit on it with order and hierarchy. Could you expound on that, and maybe what was different about Southern culture that kind of helped preserve that as in contrast to the northern part of the country?
Well, Puritanism, was based in reform, right? It was, reforming the reformers, that they thought they were going to be very much making heaven on earth. Southerners knew that this is a fallen world and there's only so much you can do here. It's that whole aspect of, it's kind of a quiet faith. People were zealous maybe in their beliefs or how it manifested in their own life, but it wasn't pointing the bony finger at people, the self-righteousness that we would think is akin to being a Yankee, not a Northerner, a Yankee, a Karen, right? Anybody who's telling you how wrong you're doing things and how you have to live up to their standard. If you look at what is I'm forgetting this. So the point would be Southerners were different in being individual and collective because they were a community-based people, and then the war brings them together as like I think John Devaney called it gave Southerners a national consciousness. Like nobody talked about the South as being the South before the war. It was the war that made them become kind of like a people group. And then, you had the Northerners who were forcing their way on people, at the point of a bayonet. So, and by the time, the war happened with a capital W, you have Unitarianism, Transcendentalism, all these things happening. So even though I think a lot of Yankees would have considered themselves Christian people, it was very much a different brand of, kind of deal with your own sin first. And then that manifests itself out to your family and then to your community, which again, I think works very much with Orthodox Christianity, where, the biggest battlefield is in our own hearts. But it doesn't mean you only care about yourself, right? It's individual and collective. That's the balance of Orthodoxy that I find so beautiful. So, I guess, did that answer your question? I wrote a 5-part series on the Puritans that if anybody wants to read it.
Hey, honestly, that's interesting. Hey, I'm turning off the Wi-Fi on my phone. I think I'm like eating up too much of my signal here. No, that's it's interesting to think about. When you really think about it, the Civil War wasn't that long ago. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting to think about the clash more in terms of like a worldview difference than than kind of even breaking down the whole like states' right thing. Because when you simplify it, it probably is more just that utopianism versus practicality. Well,
kind
sanity,
of Hebraic,
sanity.
Yeah. Hebraic Christianity, I think, is what a lot of them wanted. You know, they thought they were going to create Zion here on earth in our lifetime, you know, whether, forget Jesus coming back or whatever, forget going to heaven. It was all like, we're going to force people to do it. And, the Puritans, when they were first in Massachusetts Bay Colony, they were kicking people out who didn't agree with them. And I'm like, that's great. They were like, you voluntarily come in and we don't want you here. You leave. They kicked out the Quakers. They kicked out William Penn. He went and founded Pennsylvania or whatever. They were just like, if you don't like it, hit the road, Jack. And I'm like, I kind of have an appreciation for that. But then it started spreading and, like spreading democracy around the globe. It just doesn't stop. It just goes on and on and on until it gobbles up everything in its path. And anything that stands in its way is, right in the crosshairs. And that happened to be the South. And now it's different people today. But I would absolutely 100% say we're still fighting the same old war. But that also created a people that are durable, that have been through hardship, that know how it is to be treated as, other or whatever. So I think that bodes well for Christianity too. We're not supposed to be popular. We're not supposed to be loved by the world. The world's going to hate us, in fact. So again, I think that gives Southerners like this level of extra special thick armor where they're ready for that because they're already there. They're already hated by the world. So why not come on board to Orthodoxy? The water's warm, and we'll just keep going from there, because this is, I think, obviously the missing piece of the puzzle for people. They need to have, they need to have a relationship with Christ. And so many people are in the situation where they, again, feel abandoned and just disillusioned and lonely and, rootless and all this. Well, this is it. This is where you can plant your roots.
Yeah. Do you think that that kind of how strong is kind of the remnants of that whole, I guess, mindset and way of living? Has it been, how damaged has it been since the Northern War of Aggression? Is there still enough of a, I guess part of what you're doing is like using Orthodoxy to kind of reawaken that that beast that's still there. Is that, would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, maybe. We definitely have our problem with scalawags, of course. We can't blame everything on the Yankees, right? Southerners who, throw their ancestors under the bus and those types of things, they should know better. In fact, I think that's worse than, the stereotypical Yankee doesn't know better, right? But somebody who is literally throwing their ancestors under the bus and, calling for the destruction of history and of what made them who they are, I think is particularly damning. So I think, yeah, it's not going to be a majority of people. I mean, it's just not. But being popular isn't part of the deal. We just want to tap into people who are thirsting and yearning for Christ. They may not know it. They may believe in God or a creator or something like that. And, that's what the obviously the Orthodox element of this fellowship is going to tell them about. And then on the flip side, it's going to, never be, something where we're going to couch the fellowship in, any kind of disclaimers or political correctness or social justice or kowtowing. It's just going to be what it is. Organic and natural. If you like it, come on in. If you don't, keep on moving. But I think there are enough people there that are just, again, ripe. I was, and I think that's what we want to tap into. And Clark Carlton, when I interviewed him, I'm not sure if he said this on your show, but this isn't just like, ooh, this exclusive Southern thing. I mean, do it in the Pacific Northwest, do it in the Midwest, do it in wherever, South, whatever the geographic locale is, or even smaller, if you want it to just be this part of the, do this. This is just an example of a way to grow orthodoxy in a way that speaks to the natives, whoever they are, whether they're Minnesotans or Alabamans. It doesn't matter. The point is to make it palatable for people without watering down doctrine, without watering down dogma, to make it palatable for people on their terms. That's what Orthodox have done throughout Orthodox history, right? They go to a place and they learn the language. They don't go in there and force people to learn English. They go in there and they make it palatable for the natives.
Oh, is this actually your husband?
Who? I'm Rebecca's husband.
Jake
Malone? I don't know.
Can't be.
My husband's name is not Jake. Hey.
Weird things happen in the live chat, that's for sure.
Oh, and when I had my brain fart earlier, I was talking I couldn't think of the name of the song, the Battle Hymn Republic. We've all heard it, Glory, Glory, Hallelujah. Couldn't think of the name. I could think of Julia Ward Howe, the lady who wrote it. Well, she was no lady at all. But anywho, she was a very self-righteous, very sure of her self Yankee. And, if you read the words to the Battle Hymn of the Republic, it is about, taking God's right, the grapes of wrath, right? Grapes of wrath comes from that song. The wrath is going to fall down upon the people that stand in the way of, the righteous soldier marching in and telling people how to do things. Literally by murdering people and taking their stuff and raping people, so just read the words to the Battle Hymn of the Republic. If you really think about what she's saying and who she is, it's a pretty scary song. And, people hear it in military parades and stuff, and it's pretty frightening. That to me would be like the very typical elitist person that is the opposite of what I see as, just a down-home Southerner wanting to do their own thing and be left alone.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. It makes sense. It's just tailoring. Hey, we're a group tailored towards Southerners. Orthodoxy for Southerners. What could be controversial about that?
I'm sure many things. I can't wait.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
Yeah. Just a kind of a side note. Now I hear a lot of people kind of making, instead of it being more of like because you just hit on like that elitism thing. Instead of it being like the north-south distinction now, almost kind of like the big cultural clashes between urban and rural. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, even if you look at any political headline, what's keeping people from getting shots, those uneducated red staters. Those could be red staters in, I don't know, Wyoming. That's not the South, obviously, but that's what they do. That's what the archetype is. The archetype doesn't have to be a Southerner, but it's the same wood, backwoods, uneducated, Yahoo, doesn't know better, just hadn't been to college, flies those rebel flags and just doesn't know any better, it's the same thing. And this is what I'm always trying to convince conservatives who, I think their opinion is wrong on the war. It's the same old thing. And if you try to throw me under the bus, you're just the first to the gulag, buddy. So because I ain't going to no gulag, but a little off topic. But the point is, yeah, it's the stereotype. It is the archetype. Anytime the elites want something, that's all they have to do is spin that thing, that narrative, and it gets them mileage, because nobody wants to be thought of as being stupid or uneducated,
Father Deacon says, stupidity, you have to go to school to learn.
True.
That's true. Do we have any feds lurking in here? Yeah, my handler's in the other room. So,
well, Jake, my fake husband, who the heck was that? Maybe he's a fed.
Well, he said he's just trolling. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Father Deacon Aeneas, there are many types of stupid. Hey, if you stick around, Father Deacon, we're going to be doing call-ins later towards the end. So,
and in fact, I want to not pitch, but just kind of I guess advertise one of the newest essays we have up. It's called Granny Orthodox Women. And what this writer, her name is Olga Sibert, I think is how you pronounce her last name. She has her own website, but she's letting us cross-publish some of her stuff, and she makes really cool graphics too that she's letting us use. But anyway, the story is comparing Saint Sophia with an Appalachian granny woman, the granny woman who would be very plain dressed, who would, maybe be a little mystical. She would have good advice for people. People would come to her for wisdom, a very fundamentalist Christian, just a simple person, contrasting her with Saint Sophia, how there are a lot of those very keenly religious things, especially in the mountains. And I'm sure in West Virginia, you've run across these people where they're very in tune with mysticism and stuff like that, but through a Christian lens. And just the comparison she made in the story was beautiful because, my mother-in-law is a self-proclaimed proud hillbilly, and she knew these types of people too, and again, this overlap that's already there, this is not a weird thing to Southerners to have these types of matriarchal respected women who maybe have a keener sense of religion than the people around them, so people come to them for advice. I thought it was a fascinating article, but anyway, that's up at our website.
Yeah. How can people, before we move on to more juicy political topics, totally separated, how can people, if they want to help out, what can they do? Can they contribute? Can they give you guys money? What do you guys need?
Sure. Yeah, we have a support page, and we just have a little PayPal set up. In fact, we got our first I guess we'd call them a patron supporter, would probably be a better thing to call them, first today. So yeah, it's just to keep it afloat, pay for the, domain stuff, web hosting, all that kind of things. We have a PO box, got to pay for that. Also, we want to have conferences eventually. I assume they'll be at churches. So, we wouldn't have to pay for like a facility fee, but maybe paying for speakers. Who knows? We want to do this thing big, and not too big, too fast. Again, we want it to be organic and kind of flow out naturally. But that's the whole point: fellowship, bringing people together. So yeah, money helps, of course.
I do have experience with conferences.
Oh.
We actually might want to. If you guys wanted to serious about that, we can.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's how I met Dr. Livingston, was at a conference. I think that's how Clark Carlton met Dr. Livingston, was at a conference. People think, oh, conferences, they're all stodgy. Man, conferences rock. You're hanging out with like-minded people, learning things, building bridges, all this kind of stuff. It's just fellowship in a, official setting. I think it's great. And that's how we're going to not only create bonds between Orthodox throughout the South that already are Orthodox, but that's how we're going to pull people in, right?
Yeah. Can we book any Montanians there? Can we get
Sure. Well, interestingly enough, I saw a video, Abbot Trifon, he was in Georgia like a month ago, and in the first 3 minutes of his talk, he said, at his not a direct quote, but a paraphrase, if you scratch the surface, at my heart, I'm just a Southern gentleman. And I'm like, really? maybe I need to give Abbott Trefon a call. See if he wants to come on board. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If you go to, for example, an Abbeville conference, not everybody who speaks there is from the South, but we all love the South and Southern history and Southern culture. So that would be the thing. You would have to be on board with our overarching theme of just growing orthodoxy in the South. So it doesn't matter where you're from. Who cares?
Well, it looks like we got one speaker for you already.
Okay.
Father Deacon Aeneas, he's on board. Booked.
All right.
Booked. So I'll do it. What's going on, Mr. Munster? I think that I just met this guy this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. I think I met him. But yeah, you're down in Texas, right, buddy? I think. Anyway, that could just be crazy. So, but so let's move on. I want to hear your thoughts on, because I know this was oh, look, I was right. I'm not crazy. I did meet him. So good to see you in the chat. It was good to meet you in real life. So, what are your thoughts on this whole Charlottesville trial, which did not, I after listening to it, I listened to a lot of it. I thought that the defense was surprisingly good, especially Chris Cantwell representing himself. But the jury decided today that that everyone was liable, all of the organizers. So,
yeah, and liable for what? A conspiracy to what? Promote violence, inflict violence. I mean, it's ludicrous. I mean, the fact it even went to trial is ludicrous. And one of my big talking points, and Ann Wilson-Smith, who you've had on your show, she actually quotes me in her book, because when I interviewed Jason Kessler, gosh, that would be a score. But I said to him, if it was about violence coming from the right, y'all sure did a crappy job of being violent. I mean, all these guys are armed to the teeth, right? And I mean, like, maybe not packing heat, but some people did. You can open carry in Virginia, whatever. There's reciprocity depending on where you come from, whatever. But people knew, because they had paid attention leading up to August 2017, going to any kind of protest or rally where left-wingers are going to be is dangerous business. So they were, they had their shields and their thises and the that's, and they knew they threw pee on people and, water bottles filled with concrete. So they had all their gear. That wasn't because they went to cause violence. They went to protect themselves. So, these are big dudes, like Lead of the South, burly dudes, they could have really caused a lot of trouble. And if that was the whole conspiracy thing is just ridiculous, and the fact that the guy that shoots down into the ground because the guy's getting him with the flamethrower, I think that guy's still in jail. It is ludicrous. I mean, what's a conspiracy? What? 2 or more people getting together and having a plan. I mean, just the word conspiracy is stupid. It's so broadly defined, not even just legally, just in our whatever regular lexicon. It's ridiculous. So it's horrible. I mean, and if you think of the onslaught of people they had to face, I read an article today, the three large New York City law firms and 38 lawyers for their 10 plaintiffs against the 25 defendants, who most of which defended themselves because even if they could find counsel, couldn't pay for it. Okay, so you've already got that. These law firms total 1,300 lawyers with a 2020 income of $1.9 billion. Okay. Kaplan, then, Roberta Kaplan, the woman who says she wants to deprive white supremacist groups of free speech protection. I mean, she literally said those words, and she wants to break the back of violent white nationalist movement, and to her, a white nationalist is somebody who doesn't hate themselves for being white. She she raised an additional, they're thinking around $25 million, where, people trying to raise money for themselves get kicked off GoFundMe and get deplatformed. And I mean, just on that alone is ridiculous, on the top. And the biggest thing is, this will be my last huge point, because it is the overwhelming thing. The Heafy report was not even part of the evidence. The Heafy report that was paid for by the city of Charlottesville that basically said, wow, the city of Charlottesville really effed things up. I mean, my goodness. They had, a trial run with that Klan rally in July, 3 weeks before, that David French likes to say is the same thing as, August 12th, 2017, because that's what neocons do. But, it's like they completely did everything back-asswards of the way they were supposed to do it. And then these dudes are in trouble. I don't care what you think about these people. That is an injustice, and what is it going to do? Curtail speech, keep people from the public square. I mean, who wants to go out there and risk their life? They could be put in jail or sued forever. I mean, how is Christopher Cantwell going to pay for all these damages? I mean, he's in jail. I think they even said James Fields owes more money. He was already a destitute, lonely kid. Now he's in jail for a gazillion years with hate crimes. And what's the whole point of this other than to just shame people and scare them into submission? I mean, it's crazy. And if anybody doesn't see that, I don't know. I don't know which problem is. It's a horrible injustice, and it should scare everyone who cares about truth.
I guess the implication is that if you're white and that you can't have, I mean, really, if you just oppose the existing regime in any significant manner, but I guess particularly this group really kind of attacked the orthodoxy of the regime in a way that was pretty offensive to them. And so they're bringing down the full weight of the system upon their heads. There wasn't a way to do it legally because they were well within their First Amendment rights. They had a permit. So I guess the implication is that that civilly, legally and criminally, you're not violating. You have your supposed rights, but you still can be held civilly liable for for something that another group does because your presence pissed them off enough. I guess that's the implication.
Right. One of the plaintiffs, said she couldn't read since the white supremacist rally, right? No, deadly white supremacist rally. Let me get it right. Okay. She couldn't read since then, but then she passed the bar exam in earlier in 2021, whatever. The details don't matter. The point is she was a big fat liar, and that's just fine and dandy. It doesn't matter that, all these levels of systemic people and agencies and mayors and police chiefs and governors were completely complicit in this. That's the systemic problem right there. So, you want to talk about a conspiracy? That's it. It's not Richard Spencer out there thinking he's a Bond villain, whatever, who cares? The point is everybody has a right to speech. And because you may hurt someone's feelings or defend yourself because they're trying to pummel you over the head with, a bat or burn you or whatever. And then of course we have the parallel now with, what was his name? Daryl Brooks or Darren Brooks, the Waukesha guy?
Daryl, I think. Yeah.
Okay. So, right. Memory hold. It's way down at the bottom of Drudge Report today. I get a little New York Times thing in my inbox every day. Didn't even talk about it. And it's called the morning brief or something. Not even on there. Still talking about COVID and climate change. We don't even know what happened in Waukesha. Of course, they don't want to say who he is, what he looks like, that he was a black supremacist, et cetera, et cetera. Meanwhile, James Fields is rotting in a prison for half a millennia for, 29 hate crimes on top of, first degree murder or whatever. But they tried him for hate crimes because they didn't want to do double jeopardy. So it's all a mess. And if people don't understand it, again, I don't know what your problem is, because it is right there for you to see. It is a travesty, and people better wake up, because it's scary business.
It's crazy. So I made OK, and I made Father Deacon Aeneas mods in the chat. So I don't know if something was going on, but somebody was like, make me a mod. So, but OK and Father Deacon Aeneas, good people. So, but hey, we are going to open up for calls soon. So if anybody wants to call in, if you have any questions that you want to ask Dissident Mama live on air, go ahead and call in. So always welcome Father Deacon Aeneas, of course. But it's just amazing to me what just normal people think about. They did such an amazing, exposing powerful lies. Okay, I'll make you a mod too. We have a super chat from, maybe you know the answer for this, from Munster here. Completely random, but do you know how many people at Abbeville are Orthodox? I just found out Donald Livingston is Orthodox.
Right. So, yeah, that was my whole, coming into this whole, Ludwell Orthodox Fellowship thing was through Dr. Livingston. I don't have a head count, but I went to, what year are we in? 2021? Welcome to my crazy brain. Last year in the fall, there was a Abbeville conference in Charleston. And I'd say I met 15 or 20 people there that were Orthodox. Some of them were catechumens, inquirers. Now this is a conference with, I don't know, spitballing here, 200, maybe 300 people. But yeah, there's a contingent, I don't think it's, overwhelming, the majority, but definitely, and it's one of those things, you're just talking to somebody and bonding on, Southern history or whatever. And then, somebody mentions a parish and you're like, hey, what parish? I'm Orthodox. And then all of a sudden, you're clicking cocktail glasses and there you go. Fast friends forever. So it's just one of those things, they could be a conspiracy, it's a conspiracy. So be careful.
That guy's just on your case tonight. Oh wait, no, that's a different person. Jason Schull. Don't worry.
Oh, somebody picking on me? Let me hear what they say.
Don't worry, Rebecca. I forget what year it is too sometimes.
Who knows? Really, come on. Who can remember? Lord have mercy.
2021, right? What?
It's all a blur. I have 3 kids too, and then you push it together with COVID, and I don't know.
Hey,
it's all dystopian.
Since I have you here, have you had a chance to go on Exposing Powerful Lies show yet? Jerry, a nice ortho bro. He's got a new channel on the scene. I think you'd be a great interview for him.
He's asking me?
No, I'm just saying. He had me on. He's had a few good guests now. He's a new on the scene.
I totally want to go on.
Yeah. See, we gotta set that up now.
Well, I actually just recently updated my about page on my website, and I put it out there, put some pictures of myself because my name's been out there since I got doxxed. And I just said, hey, why don't you all, since I'm always inviting awesome people onto my show, why don't you, my followers, tell people you need to have Dissident Mama on your show? And I said that we need to start with Michelle Malkin. So go big or go home, but I'll go on anybody's show. I will. I like talking.
Expose the powerful lies of Rebecca.
I wear my heart on my sleeve, man. My husband's always like, stop telling people everything. I'm like, yeah.
See, Jerry, we got you a guest when your phone died. We booked you. We got Rebecca's going to come on your show now. So you got to do it.
We can do the podcast swap or whatever. I like that.
What is your website? You have your own website too, right? Dissident Mama, whatever.
DissidentMama.net. But if you go to .com, it'll funnel you through to .net. Yep. December is going to be my 5-year anniversary. I have a journalism degree, so I'm kind of a recovering mainstream journalist. I started, that was 2016, December 2016. I was always like getting mad at people on Facebook and whatever social media. And finally, my husband's like, dang, just start your own blog. And I'm like, okay. So I did. And I've been doing it for 5 years. So I'm a writer by trade. But during the quarantine of 2020, I decided, I'm going to start a garden and start a podcast. So I did those two things. And I will have interviewed 50 people coming up in December. My 50th guest, I think I can announce it, is going to be George and Gail Michaelopoulos from Monachamos fame. So he's awesome, and he's part of the Ludwell Orthodox Fellowship crew. And when I say crew, I just mean that he's like, hey, it sounds awesome. And I said, can I put your website on our fellowship friends page? And he said, absolutely. So he's not part of like the co-founders, but he's like, this sounds awesome. I want to be a part of it. So I said, great. By the way, will you come on my show? And he said, sure. So I don't put out podcasts that often, but I do try to talk to really interesting people. And I think I have pulled that off. I just like talking to people and hearing what they have to say, especially brave content creators like MichaelSisco. So that's what I do. So dissidentmama.net, come and check it out.
I share our interview all the time. It's the one when I was on. I was like, you know what? When someone asked basically my conversion story, I'm like, I don't want it. This is a long story. Here's a link. Here you go.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the most effective way to, because we got pretty personal, I was like, sometimes this stuff isn't like, don't necessarily want to rehash all the time, but
do you typically open up like that to people? I was wondering, because I was like, wow, he's opening up. I mean, I felt special, or I was like, oh, is this just, I don't know, was that kind of like a one-time thing?
Yeah, no, it's not normally, no. I mean,
okay,
I guess but I guess I was in a mood. But hey, it was a good I think it worked out well that we did it anyways, because all that stuff is out there with my campaign. It's like can't be used against me because I threw it out there. It's all out there. So, but
that's
now,
right.
Also, I don't really like give my like conversion story that often. So, I think that's the only time I did a show specifically on my conversion to Orthodoxy. So, I'm sure I would
People love those stories. I mean, human interest stories, that's just, that's where it's at. I mean, people like hearing about other people, and I find that most people, this is not an ego thing, but most people like talking about themselves. And that's another thing. Besides being a nag, my husband's always like, dang, you ask people questions and they like almost always answer them. He's like, how do you do that? I'm like, well, they could always say no. I just ask them. And if they don't want to answer, they could just brush it off or change the subject. But most people, if you ask them in a honest approach, they'll answer your question. It's amazing, So I'm glad you did that with me, because I thought it was a really good interview too.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun one. Well, not fun, but it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
It was like therapy. It was
therapy.
Like, hello, therapist. Rebecca, my therapist. Hello. Jason says the stunning and brave MichaelSisco. Yeah, I'm gonna be vegan now too. So, just
you're gonna be what? Oh, okay. I was like, we can't be friends.
It's sarcasm. A lot of sarcasm. Nobody wants to call in today. What's up? No, where's Mulatto Man Gabe when you need him, huh? I don't even see him in the chat. Man, I feel abandoned. We have good viewership. Nobody wants to call in now.
It is Thanksgiving week. I mean, I didn't even think I could pull off talking to you tonight. So, people are packing and cooking and drinking. Who knows what else they're doing?
I forgot one of the dates I gave you was Thanksgiving. I was like, I keep forgetting.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think so.
I keep forgetting about it. I mean, of course, what would have happened was, oh, this is Thanksgiving. Obviously, we can't do that. Yeah, Jerry says he'd call, but his phone's low. Just call in, man. We'll take you for 30 seconds, Jerry. That way you guys can just work out. You can book her appearance on your show live on air. Live on air. So, but we don't have to go too long tonight because it is a holiday week, and I'm tired. Oh, hey, we got Father. Oh, look who it is. We got Father Deacon Aeneas. Let's go. Hello, Father Deacon. Hello.
God bless, guys. I thought I'd drop in to say hi.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Hello.
Nice to see you and meet you.
Yeah.
And why don't you go on Dissident Mama's show, Father Deacon, huh?
Okay. After Thanksgiving.
All right. Boom, boom.
After Thanksgiving. Let's go. Hey, you guys hold it.
I just wanted to give a shout out that I want to let you know, I already put it in the chat, that Montana is the south of the north. And you should research. There's a really interesting history about Montana. After the Northern War of Aggression, Montana accepting the Southerners after the carpetbaggers drove them out. And so there's a fantastic history up here. So we might be the only northern state that's actually Southern.
Nice.
So I want to put that out there.
All right. I'll check it out. I've never been to Montana.
Oh, it's God's country.
Are you from there originally?
No. I was born in Minnesota and then unfortunately spent a large portion of my life in California.
Okay.
So
I went to school in Wisconsin, so I know quite a lot of.
Your bitch there. Oh yeah, Wisconsin.
5 years in the Berkeley of the Midwest in Madison, so I'm still recovering from it.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
Uh-oh. We got you booked on 2 shows, Father Deacon.
What's the other show? Oh,
Exposing.
Okay.
Jerry wants you too. I highly recommend. I think he's going to have a good. That's
What's
Exposing Powerful Exposing Powerful Lies. I think we got to bring him up to, he's going to be in the ortho sphere officially. He's going to be one of the ortho bros. It's good.
Yeah.
Good channel.
I haven't been producing much lately. I've been so busy. Looking forward to wrapping up teaching in a couple weeks and having a break to do more stuff. So
how's the Montana, or is your Montana community going about as fast as mine is, or
No, we haven't had anybody move up here. I don't know what's the matter with people. We have people, a couple people, I guess, in various places in Montana. How's your community growing? People are afraid to take the first step. I mean, it's really, they get stuck in their comfort and I don't know if I want to move, and you just got to do it.
Yeah. I'm only close to getting one person to move up there, and I think the reason is a little different, but
oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but we do have a pretty solid community down, not where I live, but down in near Wayne, West Virginia, where the monastery is.
Yeah.
Christ the Savior Parish is the closest thing. I actually went to visit the week before last, and it's kind of already what I was imagining doing up in the part of the state where I live.
How far are you from there? From
about
Father
5
Jonas
hours.
Church?
About 5 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was in the area for a political event anyways, and then one of their parishioners came to my event and was like, "Can I crash in your trailer?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, let's go." So I got to visit, and it's awesome, man. Father Jonah's great. The people there are, let's just say, they were about as based as advertised. Let's go.
Yep. Yeah, and in fact, on the our southernorthodox.org, we have some of their shape note singing where they're doing Christmas hymns, but doing it in the Southern shape note style, and
nice.
it's beautiful. It's really, really pretty. That's another thing too. It's not just back to the fellowship. It's not just the war and the people and our history and all this kind of stuff. It's the respect of music, the respect of full, immersion baptisms, the respect of many things that Orthodox are already doing. I think the music thing is really, really big. And
that's great.
I think that really just awakes a lot of people. They say, aha, it's just like a spark for them to say, I can connect with that.
You do know that I play bluegrass, right?
What? Do you really? Get out of here.
What instrument?
Get out of here.
I play the guitar. And
nice.
It's great because we got a Serbian parish up here, and there's been a couple times where we all bring our guitars, and everybody knows bluegrass up here. I'm like, what? I'm like, that's
nice.
crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So that's my favorite music, to be honest.
Hey, I gotta clarify something. I didn't mean to imply that Jerry's not an ortho bro. What I meant was, I guess we'll make him an ortho bro general. Okay, Father Deacon Aeneas is a general. Of course, the captain is Jay Dyer. I mean, Jay Dyer is like the 4-star general, right, of the ortho bro army. Maybe I guess that's
no. He's under me. You gotta,
he's under you.
You gotta respect the clergy, yeah.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But he's like, well, okay. But yeah. So what I mean is we might have to initiate him into the ortho bro generals. We have
officers. That's correct.
That's true. We got Brother Augustine. We have David Patrick Harry. We have you, Tristan. Who else do we have? Is there anybody else that are officers?
The site's coming along well. I'm gonna keep you up. We've got some new clergy that all of you are fans of that are going to be on board too. That have reached out that I've just talked to the last couple days. So
nice.
Now, are we discussing patristic faith? Is that what?
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Can I put you as a friend of the fellowship on our website?
Please do. Yes.
Woo! Yes, building bridges.
Go.
Here we go. Let's go. Excellent. So excited.
Very productive stream. Very productive stream tonight.
I'm taking notes as we talk.
We got new guests on new shows. We're building the army. We're building the Orthosphere army. Let's go.
It's a conspiracy, Michael. Be careful.
Yep.
Jerry says, "Dang, a general, Cisco, you're too generous." Well, Hey, I like I like his channel. It was a fun interview. It was good to go on his show. He's doing good work over there. That's all I'm saying. So it's good to promote other good Orthodox people and their new channels and their new endeavors.
I was just joking about Jay. I hope I didn't make anybody upset by. I'm allowed to give Jay a hard time.
Jay's definitely kind of at the tip of the, he's like our Fuentes.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, Roosh is definitely a general.
Roosh. Yeah. I've got the Word document up with all the officers.
Let's go. Let's make this a real thing.
We'll have to break it down into
this document.
Team 2, Team 6, right?
Let's do it. I'm getting some feedback. I don't know who that's coming from. Is that me?
I don't hear anything.
I hear it. Is it me?
No.
Hello?
I think it is you. I muted myself and it didn't go away. So.
Okay, what if I mute myself? What happens? Where am I? Let's see if it goes away. I'm going to mute myself. Ready? Go.
No, still there.
It ain't me.
Must be.
Maybe I'm a troublemaker. It's just.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely you. I muted you.
Wow.
I wonder what it is. I wonder why. Yeah, if I unmute you, it comes back.
Can the viewers hear it?
Yeah, you're like totally roboting now. Hey, at least it waited until our interview was over, you know?
How long you guys been going for? An hour?
Yeah, we just hit an hour. Yeah. Yeah, whoa, y'all turned into robot voices. Y'all take
Transient. We just uploaded. We just uploaded into the cloud.
Yeah, I'm scared to unmute Rebecca.
If you can't beat them, join them.
Robot Rebecca. She must have took the vaccine. That's what happened.
Wouldn't it be crazy if actually there was like a side effect that everybody...
But Brother Augustine says your soy face is suspiciously accurate. See, look, we start talking about the generals, and the generals
comes in.
The generals, the Ortho Bro generals just showing up tonight. You can call in, Brother Augustine, and give us your opinion on whether or not we can initiate.
Remember what happened last time? All the generals came in. I popped in, and then they all started showing up.
That was crazy. That was. I was ready to just do a solo episode on that topic, and then you guys all just showed up. That was like the most epic night ever. But let's try unmuting Rebecca one more time. And then...
I mean, we could just defer to the patriarchy on me.
You did it, Rebecca.
You're back. You're back. And Brother Augustine says he's at work. He can't do it. Do it. But hey, congrats on getting married.
Yes, congratulations. Many years, brother.
Yeah. So many years. Nice. And hopefully, hopefully the rest of us can get married too soon. And you guys are married already.
Well, that's what I got. I told you guys what I got to put on patristic faith is Orthodox matchmaking.
I think I'm good now. I took a step in the right direction.
You're okay, but there's a lot of other guys out there and gals.
Would it be for adults or like arranged marriages for children? Because I'd take
for children.
Yeah, well, I mean, not when they're children, but finding wives for my sons.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Oh man,
but not when they're children. But
brother Augustine. It's the only channel that hasn't modded okay, so gonna have to get on that.
All right, y'all gotta explain something to me. So when you're a mod, that just means you're moderating something right in the moment. You could be a mod today, but not tomorrow.
No, you're a mod
like all the time
until you're unmodded.
Okay. Okay. I'm not sure how it works. I watch my husband in his Discord server, and I'm always like, who are these mods?
Apparently, we're doing all of...
Yay, thank you, Brother Augustine. I thought you were ghosting me, so I'm happy. Yay. I wasn't going to take it personally, though.
He would never. We're getting everything done on this show. It's great.
I don't know. I scare people, and I'm so not scary. It's weird.
They see Dissident Mama, they think their life's going to be over for talking to you.
Yeah.
I never could get you Luke Kindred. I don't know what was up with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
He went off to seminary. He was supposed to be a officer, and he put greater things.
Yeah, this is true.
He chose the greater.
Ghosting is more powerful once you've acknowledged getting the message.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's funny. Brother Augustine is one of the best ortho channels. He does really great work and shreds the guitar.
Yep, he's saving lives, guys. Saving lives, doing his part.
So does he play bluegrass?
I don't know. Actually, that's a great question. Brother Gustin, do you play bluegrass? We had a great jam session up here with bluegrass and all kinds of stuff at Orthodox Montanica at the last night of the event. It just shows you what, like, and whether it's in your community but just the potential of, like, when you get people who are serious about orthodoxy and they don't want watered down orthodoxy, they don't want Episcopalian orthodoxy, they don't want a PC orthodoxy, they're traditional, and they have the zeal and guidance from the correct spiritual fathers. When you put them together in a group, like, there's something really great there, and it was we got a taste of that, and I hope that your communities can get a taste of that as well through your events. Yeah.
What do you think about we have some of this up on our the video section of our website, where people are taking hymnography, but filtering it through bluegrass or traditional Americana music and stuff like that, keeping, I think, the integrity of it there, but not, it's becoming something uniquely, I guess, Southern American.
I've always argued that. So Orthodoxy is something organic. And I know people have pushed various forms to be imposed, or they've even thought Western Rite, which is really kind of a Western European, on America, as if that, and tied that as if that's American Orthodoxy. And I said, that's not American Orthodoxy. It's going to be something organic, something kind of like we do with the foods, right? That we kind of take different foods and we bring it into our history and culture, and we make it our own in an organic way. And I believe that American Orthodoxy is going to be like that too. It's going to take the traditions, and I mean traditions, I don't mean like some new fad or something like that. That's why I really like the bluegrass, is because every country has their folk music, but for us Americans, that's our folk music. I really can't think of anything else that really kind of compares and has that long of history in America. And so I think that's why it feels natural. And I always have an intuition, like when you try to force something and blend it with another culture or style or something like that, and it doesn't sound right, you feel it in your heart. And maybe not everybody has that. Not everybody has that kind of discretion to be able to discern that. But for me and others, it becomes obvious that, for example, when those hymns were Orthodox chants were done in Appalachian, and various things, as if you're talking about, it feels right. But it has to be organic. Again, we don't want to be like the papists who are forcing a system down on, and there's many Orthodox that believe that, we have to have this uniformity, and we have to have an American Orthodoxy. Orthodoxy develops very slowly, and it will develop organically. And I think you're absolutely right. I think that it will tie into, and it can't be, like I said, a new fad or a certain generation's music. It has to be something that's, in American terms, timeless.
Yeah. And
to me, it would be something exactly like what you're saying. So I don't see any problem with that. I'm very excited to see how that actually develops.
Yeah, and I think doing, people trying to say American Orthodoxy, I mean, would that be 4 time zones, sea to shining sea, all of our territories? Like, what does that even mean? Like, it's just too much, I mean, it again, it seems fake, it seems forced. It would be like having rap in modern country music, it's like that, and natural's the way to go, let things happen, again, organically and naturally. I mean, anything forced is gonna be maybe popular for a little while, and then it's gonna fall apart.
Yeah, kind of a good point, honestly. I've been thinking about this a little more lately. If the Western right is going to work here, it's going to catch on its own. If it's not, it's just going to phase out. And I personally like it, and I think it's worth trying. But I think Father Deacon is right. It's whatever becomes the Eastern Rite does seem to be more kind of adaptable to the local flavor, so to speak, and it does feel really like natural hearing those hymns, those like bluegrass adapted hymns to Orthodox tones. There is something powerful with that there.
Yeah.
I think maybe that might be, especially in Appalachia. I don't know if it would work everywhere in the country, but
I mean, you're already starting to see this. I mean, if you have multiple jurisdictions, which we do in the United States, Romanian, Greek, Arab, as far as like Antioch and things like that, Serbian, and we're all doing the same tones, but we have different melodies, we have different traditions, the different foods. And what you're seeing in a lot of these parishes is the ability to actually take multiple kind of melodies and bring them into, and that seems very American, but in a way that becomes uniquely American. And so I think that'll kind of continue to develop until it will connect and blend into, like I said, the history and tradition, not a fad, but something that's kind of been the common denominator, something that goes deep, like every other country and Orthodoxy, a culture that runs deep and lasts the test of time. And for me, music styles change all the time. There's new fads, but there's certain music in America, and that's, again, why I like bluegrass and different things like this, and folk music, that it's still there. It doesn't go away. And it's uniquely and distinctive as American. I mean, rap music doesn't have to be American. Rap music's everywhere, right?
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't associate that I'm trying to think what else. You might have country music, but again, the roots of that would be probably further back into kind of folk and bluegrass and things like that.
Yeah, bluegrass would be, the banjos from Africa and the fiddle players from the British Isles coming together and making bluegrass music, right? And that's the roots of folk music, rock and roll, jazz, which are all Southern music styles, y'all. So come on home. It's all there, right for the picking.
Yeah. Well, bluegrass, isn't it rooted in it's like Scottish folk music, right?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, there's not going to be any EDM electronic.
Yeah.
Orthodoxy.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, you have the instrumentation coming from the British Isles, settling in Appalachia, coming down the Cumberland Gap, settling largely in the South, and western Shenandoah Valley, Virginia, North Carolina, and then again blending with the banjo, which was an African instrument. Well, the Black people lived in the South, so this is how it became a thing. So it was this instrumentation that was very much uniquely Southern because of immigration patterns, because of slavery, because of all of those things. It was there.
Do you know what is similar to that too? And actually, it's another genre of music that I really Latin jazz, where you have something very similar, is that you have like the kind of folk music of the country farmers, but then you have this African rhythms that would come over.
Right. And
because of the slave trades and stuff like that, it fused and made. And I always loved the Latin jazz, like the rhythms and hearing that kind of fusion with the kind of the local folk music.
Right.
And it's very similar to the way bluegrass came about.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of bluegrass. Yeah. My husband and I used to be in a husband and wife duo back in the day, and I couldn't quite play as fast as bluegrass musicians play, but we would play kind of Americana music and stuff like that. And I was a music journalist back in the day.
Check this out. That's my bluegrass thumb right there.
Oh, that's nice.
Looks like we have another caller. I don't recognize them. So please follow the YouTube terms of service or I will boot you.
I'm gonna don't do it. Who do we got?
We'll see. Volps. Hello, Volps. Welcome to the MichaelSisco show. What's up, man? Turn your volume down. Turn your volume down.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Turn your volume down. Yeah, turn your feedback.
You probably have your YouTube on, and you've got to turn your YouTube.
Yeah, turn your YouTube off just so you have the StreamYard on. I'll unmute you real fast. Oh, nope, you still got it.
Gotcha.
All right.
Oh, I hear him. He sounds good to me.
All right, sounds good now. What's going on, buddy? Welcome to the show.
I can't actually hear you guys.
Oh. Uh-oh. All right. Well, we're going to have Ray call in the replace.
I'm boomering out a bit with the technology, but love your work, Michael, and love your work, Father Deacon. Yeah, but I'll go. Thank you, guys.
God bless you.
Thank you. Good to have you. Hopefully. Well, we gotta. I should switch to the nicer frame here. There we go. That looks nicer.
Do you literally have a green screen behind you, and that's how you get? I can't get it nice like you, Michael. I'm
what do you mean?
Well, you've got that beautiful library there.
Oh, that's fake.
I know. So it's a green screen. But if I put up a green screen, it's like all because I don't have literally a green screen. If I put up an image, it says you have to require a green screen.
Yeah, it's like $20 on Amazon, brother.
Hey, did you notice when you interviewed Clark Carlton, he had an actual library behind him, and it wasn't a green screen. We were all laughing at it. My kids were like, "Whoa, that's so funny! That's his actual library with his dog and his fireplace."
This is my stupid library right here. Because we still haven't ordered the rest of the bookshelves, so there's like boxes. We've been here for over a year and a half, and I still got all my books in boxes and stuff. So that's my lane.
I've been in my apartment for almost a year now, and my books are in the closet, and there's just like boxes. So I
tried to pull the most important ones out that I would reference all the time, but occasionally it's like, oh no, where's that? Oh, here it is, bioethics, guys.
Yep.
Turns out you can't actually just torture and cut up patients. That is unethical, it says. Interesting. Did not know that until I read this book.
What about experimental substances?
Jab away. Why not?
What about that?
I'm so bummed because I was given, the reason why I have that book is I was trying to prepare for a course I'm going to be teaching next semester where it's like bioethics. And I'm like, yes, this will be my chance to like go off on all this stuff. And then I guess we didn't get enough students to sign up, so it got canceled. So I'm really sad.
So you probably know about Tristan Engelhart. Is that how you pronounce his last name?
Yeah, he was a mentor of mine. I actually, and I go to Texas every year. I'm still, let's see here. Here's one of his books there.
Okay.
I've got some more right there. After God's really good. I can't remember where I put that, but yeah, every every February, beginning of February, I go down to an Orthodox conference put on. Well, now he's passed, but his wife's carrying on, Susan. But yeah, you know him. It's great.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm only familiar with him, just in passing, reading things. But Clark Carlton is also a huge, because he's a philosopher, a philosophy teacher, a huge Tristan Engelhart fan. And then our Memory Eternal page at southernorthodox.org, there's a whole story about his life and how ardently pro-Southern he was. Yeah.
Oh, he was great. I mean, the stories that he would tell me, and he had a beautiful Texan accent too. And he was telling me the story of they've got a ranch and they had some poachers coming on. And he got them at gunpoint. And he said, "Sauce, drop your weapons. And after you drop the weapons, I shall have you drop your jaws." And they were like, "What?" "Any deviation from the plan, you shall be shot." And he's like, "You can pick up your jaws and your weapons at the gate." and I was like, such a Texan.
That's really awesome.
Yeah. But he had that, like, that wonderful, it's a particular type of Texan drawl. Like, not all Texans have it. It's really interesting. I'm sure you notice that among the South, the different kind of accents and stuff like that. What's your favorite?
Favorite what?
Dialect of the Southern accents.
Oh gosh, anyone that's very extreme. I'm from Richmond, and it's interesting. Born and raised in Richmond, and I would travel around, Virginia, whatever, as in my teens, and people would know I was from Richmond because Richmond actually has a little bit of a nasally accent, and people would always joke it's because everybody in Richmond, thinks they're very, upper crust, even if they aren't. And it's, it's interesting. My dad, who, grew up middle class.
Father Bless is here. Father,
yeah.
welcome.
Oh, hi. Yes, many Texas accents. But that's the thing.
Yeah.
Depending on where you go, and then there are people who have a Charlotte accent, and I live in North Carolina now, or a Greensboro accent. You can tell somebody if they're born and raised in Greensboro because there are very few people born and raised here. I just think they're all beautiful. I love all Southern accents. I wish I had more of one, and I really wish my kids had more of one. And my husband did have a Texas accent, but I don't hear it anymore, so I don't know if it's gone from us. I don't know. But when I did go to school in Wisconsin, people really couldn't understand what I was saying. And I never had, I was from Richmond. It wasn't this hardcore.
It wasn't, it's not a hard.
They would always, my roommate was from Mississippi, and they would always like it when we drank wine because they would call us the Bells. And they just thought it was so funny how we talked when we drank wine. Apparently we got more of a drawl, but yeah, who knows? But I think they're all beautiful. Yeah, I love all Southern accents. I think accents in general are great.
They're interesting, aren't they? They're really amazing.
Yeah, tells a story. Yes.
If you ask my wife, I forgive me for any Brits out there, but there's some British accents that bother me for some reason. I don't know what it. I spent 7 years in Ireland too, so I was exposed to a lot of kind of British, and I was just like, there were certain ones that. So I don't know if any of you there's any kind of dialects or accents out there that kind of rub you the wrong way.
New England?
Well, yeah. Anything north of the Mason-Dixon line?
I don't actually mind like the New York, New Jersey area. That doesn't bother me.
No, actually, that one gets to me a bit. It depends. Really? Even in New York and New Jersey, they have different dialects among themselves.
Yeah.
And maybe it is, well, look, in like the UK and in the UK especially, usually it's less. It's not just to do with the area, but like you had said too, your social stratification, right? Like what class you would be in. You could definitely hear. You could actually probably figure out what school you went to in the UK by the way somebody would speak. I don't think we have that as much, but maybe a little bit, like you were saying, Rebecca, that among the Southern accents you can hear.
And I like, euphemisms that people use, or, how people call the same object different things. I find that fascinating. In Wisconsin, a water fountain's a bubbler. That took me like 6 months to figure that out. What are you talking about? And milk and all those kinds of things. Just the sayings people have. Well, what does that mean? To a Virginian, if some Vermonter says something, I may not know what it means. And, having somebody define that for you, I think it's really cool.
Have you seen that guy? He does videos of like a Northwest accent, and he has like it's like a translator because he can't even hear. He's like, "Oh, sure betcha. He's all going to go pick it up on the Davenport over there on the and then it's like, go put it next to the right, and it translates it was really funny. But like there was all these like phrases and words that people probably wouldn't be familiar with.
Now, you lived how long in California?
The majority of my life. We moved from Minnesota when I was like 4 or 5, and then I lived in California until I moved to Ireland for 7 years to do my grad work.
Because Californians don't think they have an accent, but they do.
Well, can you tell the difference between? It depends, like in different places in California, but generally I wouldn't be able to tell the difference unless you were from a particular area in California. Generally, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between a Californian, Washingtonian, and Oregonian.
Yeah, maybe I'm lumping them all together, but I think it's almost their lack of accent that becomes an accent. And of course, how confident they are that they don't have an accent and they sound awesome.
All of the West Coast,
that's a dead giveaway.
All of the West Coast seems like that to me. Like they all have.
That's a dead giveaway.
Yeah. So.
Now, Brother Augustine,
they speak
from
fast.
California?
They speak fast. I forgot about that.
Because
I remember living when I was in Ireland, and I'd been a while away out of the States, and these Americans came on the bus, and they were like, "Oh my God, Shelley, did you hear? Did you like listening?" And I'm like, "Oh, geez." I'm like, "Is that what we sound like?" It was like the first time that I was able to hear. Look at that, ladies! Vocal fry. That's a California. I'm like,
I picked up some of that because I was a godless hippie for a long time. So I say a lot of likes and ums and all this kind of stuff because I followed the Grateful Dead around for way too long.
I did. Yeah. I followed the Dead. I went to the Dead. Yeah, I still like the Dead. And turns out the Dead was influenced by bluegrass. Maybe that's
absolutely. They were a jug band to start off with.
That's right. So don't judge me. Don't you dare judge me. Or Rebecca.
How many shows did you see?
I only saw one, and then we were supposed to go to some other shows, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to travel to go to Las Vegas and see. He'll be back around next year," and then he died. I was like, "Whoops."
Yeah, it happens.
Hey, look, I'm
not telling y'all how many I saw.
A devotional heart. Good to see you, devotional heart.
Yeah, you can call in too. You
I sent you an email, devotional heart.
Oh, hey, here's someone else who we could set up to do a show with.
I know.
With both of you, we can.
Should I be writing her name down?
Yeah, she's a good. She's almost a ortho sister general.
Okay.
By the way, Michael, we should do going forward on patristic faith because people really like when we have the multiple guests on. People really like it.
Whoa!
So I saw, yes, Allison, thank you. I saw. Let's do Friday. Let's perhaps do Friday. I think from Free Friday. I'll write you.
What do you mean, like a panel type thing?
A panel where
yeah,
we all come together and judge you, the viewers. We have a court hearing where we find all of you guilty for racism and I'm joking. No, but they liked it when we came on. You know me, I like to use humor and joke around.
Yeah. We should do that. We should do that like at least like once a month or something on the patristic faith.
I think so.
Yeah, that'd be fun. But we have to tell Rebecca about a devotional heart. What do we? She's like super sweet. She's like a catechumen that just interviews Orthodox people, and she's like a super nice lady.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Not old and jaded like me.
I will. She seems very young. Like
she's a
yourself.
Former what?
She was like into the occult stuff too, you know, and
oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
So she says, "Thanks, Michael. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I probably ruined her life by her coming on my show, you know. So I gotta help her out now. It's my duty. It's my duty. But no, we should do that. We should have like a. Are we gonna have a YouTube channel for patristic faith?
I already have one. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing, but yeah. Do you want me to put it in the chat real quick?
Yeah. We should do it on there, man. We should do like a monthly just meetup of all the ortho generals.
Now, how long did it take you to build that website? Are you doing it yourself, Father Deacon? Who's doing it?
I have right now. There's been a lot of kind of like obstacles and hiccups and stuff like that.
Yes.
We had somebody that we were working with that fell through. Various things to just kind of hashing out that. But right now, it's just been me and my web designer and internet marketing Chase Mudd, who you can see on and just talking with all the guys and just what I've been trying to do, I want to make it roll out correct. I don't want to be sloppy with it. And so it wasn't just like, oh, we'll just throw it out there. I'm really trying to dot all my I's and cross my T's, put together like a clergy advisory board, work out all the nuts and bolts. And so because of that and hiccups, it's taken longer, but it's going to mean it's going to be better quality. We really want to do it correct.
Yeah, ours took forever. We really started in earnest in March, and we didn't launch until 2 weeks ago. It's so, you look at it, and I think, people may think, oh, it's really pretty, it's a little deep, the navigation bar is nice. I really like the pictures, but so much goes into it that I don't think people understand. And you want it to be just right, you want it to convey exactly the right thing. It's hard.
So I've been working on it we just put this up, let's see, maybe 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago is when I actually put the website up. But I've been thinking about this and working through this stuff for about 1.5 years just to get it right. Okay, so I put it in the chat there. We'll have that, yeah.
Yeah, we should do our monthly little live stream there, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
You should make like like an Entropy or something so that we can raise money for the website.
Basically, I didn't want to tell you this right now, but it's a Ponzi pyramid scam, and actually, Patristic Faith's selling timeshares. It's really wonderful. All of your money goes into my Cayman account, island accounts. Also, we have. Let's see. We have a Twitter, a Patristic Faith Twitter. And Instagram, the YouTube. Am I missing any other one that I should get?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Are we going to have our own blog?
What are the crazy kids using these days?
Well, let me pitch Southern. Let me pitch the fellowship social media. Instagram. What else are we doing? Twitter. And Father John's doing the Telegraph channel. And Gap.
We got a Telegraph. Okay, so I got Telegraph, Instagram already.
We're just not doing Facebook because all the cool people are gone.
I wonder, I think I have a Facebook too, Patristic Faith. I tried to get them all. I'm trying to, I think that everyone you mentioned I've got.
Yeah.
I don't have Snapchat. Do I need a Snapchat?
No, that's gay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because the other night I was sharing some of the new essays, on my Dissident Mama stuff, and then my husband's like, well, "Why don't you just create, a Ludwell Orthodox Fellowship social media?" And I'm like, "Because I do too much already." Oh, that actually makes a lot of sense.
and link some of your materials as well. Like, I don't mind doing
what?
that. So I'm happy to link your materials too and host some of your. If you have some good articles and stuff like that too.
That would be awesome. We have 3 new ones up from our launch. One of them is mine, and I talked about Olga's, and then one by a gentleman named Walt Garlington. He's a very prolific writer and has his own website. But it's good stuff. Yeah.
We just need to consolidate. So the whole idea is consolidate, make it a confederation. Can you cut that part out?
It's live.
No apologies. A clearinghouse, and that's how exactly Clark Carlton described it. Because a lot of these things have been published elsewhere, but we want to bring them here for people who are seeking orthodoxy or seeking to know more about it. What's happening to Michael?
Somebody said, will there be a Patristic Faith Friendster in MySpace?
Oh.
I totally forgot about those. I'm sorry. I got distracted by that. I just thought it was kind of funny.
Oh, there we go.
Do you see it in the chat? The Friendster and MySpace? Okay, I will get those too. I got them all.
You're looking good, Michael.
Being 100% optical
look at
right
that.
now. Let's go. We got it.
You got to get like the boxing, like.
I have those. I have the boxing gloves. We can.
And throw Eye of the Tiger on.
I should get my my pink pussy hat to wear with this flag. It'll really confuse them.
Yeah, don't do that.
So eventually we're going to run an article about, the religious nature of the battle flag. And it'll obviously have to have a battle flag in the feature image. So that'll probably be when we get our first official pushback. Although certain subversives have already, said Southern Orthodox is, whatever, fascistic or something. So it's going to be a fun ride.
I was thinking about this the last couple days because, things that I've been working out, teaching in class and stuff like this. And many of you probably heard me say this, that the myth of neutrality. Well, let's just look at the evidence, right? And I've always said that somebody's assumptions and presuppositions color the way that they view the world. And I have recently, given the current events, thought about what would you do, say, and believe if your presuppositions that were something like that, that 90% of Americans are white supremacists, and everybody's racist or something like that. I mean, it's good to put ourselves in the other person's position and think about how they would see the world in color. And I'm like, well, it tends to make a lot of sense to me where things that are so not that way, you're putting on lenses. And so you're going to see that everywhere. You're going to interpret. And I think the big mistake that everybody thinks is that we all approach these matters in a neutral way. We just all see the data in the same way. But no, it has to do with what are your presuppositions. If you really thought that, you're going to make all these certain types of judgments. And we do this in philosophy too. If you start from a false presupposition, you make false judgments and false arguments. And so I think it's really good, when everything that you guys were talking about tonight, to always roll back and think about what are the presuppositions that color everything that they see. Their most fundamental presuppositions.
Right.
Anyways,
Yeah.
For whatever it's worth, it's been kind of on my mind, given, kind of connecting the stuff that I've been doing in classes and kind of current events too. Because it just seems so absurd to me sometimes. It's like, well, how could somebody? And it's like, well, if you believe this, you're going to see all these things in this particular way.
It's also assuming people look at data and, look at things the way I would think critically thinking people do, or people who are lifelong learners. We try to look at evidence and, not repeat mistakes. And, I used to be a feminist. I minored in women's studies back when I was
go then. Sorry, I gotta.
But I was looking back now. I was the world's worst feminist because I never thought anything that I failed at was because I had lady parts. I never took no for an answer. Oh, I just can't do it. It's just. It just wasn't how I was wired to think, okay, I thought a marriage was an oppressive institution and whatever, I had, read my fair share of whatever, Ms. Magazine and whatnot, but I just didn't think that way, and I just think some people think much differently than we do, where the lens is cracked and broken. I mean, they're always going to see something distorted. Well, maybe not always. But.
I mean, as a professor of philosophy, I think about philosophy as therapia, like correct philosophy. That we all have these mind viruses, and there's different things that we believe that make us stupid. I don't know how to. Any nicer way to kind of put it, and it's not simply like, oh, I just don't have that. I didn't have the IQ to do some, think through it. It's literally certain ideas make you dumb and stupid, and destroy your mind in the same way that addictions, alcohol and drugs. And so what I think about orthodoxy and true philosophy, correct philosophy doing is it's not arguments. It's a rehab program that we've gotten ourselves all messed up for various things. We've made ourselves stupid. And it's a disease. It's a mental disease, like addiction, and we've got to go through some type of program and therapy to start thinking correctly about stuff and seeing things objectively, which we know as orthodoxy is the way God would and the saints. And for us, Orthodoxy is the therapy. And what you don't see, and I think, Rebecca, you pointed this out, is that requires introspection and skepticism. It requires going, what is in me that's causing me to maybe think a certain way? Most people never question that. They never go beyond the surface. They never want to be skeptical about themselves. But think about it. The world and all the other philosophies and religions, you're the standard, right? In fact, you pick the religion you want that matches your values. And Orthodoxy is just the opposite. It's the opposite of the world. It says, you're all messed up. You don't know what you're talking about. But if you want, we've got a program that can fix that. Mm-hmm. And it's hard, it's not a single argument. It's you have to continually go through something until you rewire yourself and your entire being to see the world correctly. And people don't even take the first step to make the introspection. What if I'm wrong? What are my kind of presuppositions they just assume I'm right. I'm the standard of truth. Like the Pythagorean dictum, man, the measure of all things, that which is and that which is not. It's demonic, to be honest. And I think you can divide the culture and all philosophies and all of history into that dichotomy. The way of man, the city of man, and the city of God. And Orthodoxy is the opposite of the world. And the evil one is always the inverse and therefore perversion of everything that is holy. And this is very clear to me, going through the history of thought, going through the various political issues, that whatever all that stuff is, the underlying thing is very simple. It's good and evil. It's God and self-centered man.
Yeah, I agree, because introspection is hard. It's easier just to ignore that. And I guess that's what most people take the path of least resistance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I will say, just for the record, when I'm talking about me finding orthodoxy and being a critical thinker and a lifelong learner, I'm just average IQ gal. That's what always frustrates me with, people who ignore the truth or want to gaslight you or, tell you something, pee down your leg and tell you it's raining. I'm like, I'm average IQ girl, but I know when somebody's lying to me. How can these high IQ people, these brilliant elitists, be so fooled? And it's really frustrating, because
it's a sort of stupidity that you have to go to school for. And yes. My favorite saints, Saint Spiridon, Elder Cleopa, they're the people that had what would be equivalent to a third grade education. They didn't have the high IQ, but they spoke higher than the minds of men and angels.
Right. And
it's because we don't, unlike the West in Roman Catholicism, we don't relate to God through our diaonia, the discursive intellect, but our hearts, our nous. And that when they tap into and they become like God and they imitate him, they get the knowledge higher than men and angels. And it's amazing if I just encourage any of you to look up some YouTube videos of Elder Cleopa. He was like a sheep herder with like a second, third grade education. And he's more profound than any philosopher. Mm-hmm. And I love to quote Blaise Pascal, who of those philosophers of the West is probably the closest to orthodoxy. And he said, what Socrates couldn't get a few highly educated, the highest educated men to understand, one man, by the power of just a few words got thousands and upon thousands to understand. And that's orthodoxy. Christ, the Theanthropos, breaks down and makes the wisdom of men folly. It's always the inverse. You always have to think about it that way. There's the ways of the world and the wise, and then there's the ways of God. And it's through humility. It's not IQ points, which is exactly what the world values, right?
Right.
But it's the persecuted. It's the humble. It's the uneducated that find the path to God and speak the highest wisdom. And that's why, I love the Akathis of the Theotokos. She makes philosophers mute as fish. Yeah. So, and I say that as a philosopher, right? Like, I'm like, that's the path. I'm like, I don't want the profession of philosophy. Like, for whatever reason, God has chosen me to be in this career, and I'll make the best of it. But I don't want that by the worldly standards. I want Christ and the humility and the saints. That's why it's not the most erudite saints that are some of my favorites. It's the most humble. It's sometimes the least educated among them that show that their ways of life, that's what I want. And really, if you think about it, that's what it comes to. We can get into all this difficult theological stuff, but I always put it this way to people: what do you want? Remember what Christ says, and we always think this is a silly question. He goes to the paralytic, do you want to be healed? It's like, well, duh. It's like, do you want to be, what do you want? Do you really want this path? And that's another great, Rebecca, introspective question, to go in and be like, have I thought about what I really want? We sometimes just utter it off, rattle it off without thinking about it. But I think as Orthodox, and especially going into the fast too, for nativity, we should start thinking about what is it that I really, really want. And we Orthodox have a program for that. If you want the ways of the world, you're free to go. If you want to become a professor, if you want to make tons of money, go do it. Everybody gets what they want in the end.
Yes, well said. Yeah.
Wow. And on that note, we're coming up on 2 hours. So I gotta go. I'm hungry.
Yeah, I gotta. Yeah, well, it's late. Are you 2 hours difference from me? I'm Mountain Time. Right?
It's almost midnight here. Yeah.
It's my bedtime. Matlock's on, and.
But I appreciate you.
This has been joyous. Fun. Thank you so much. It's been a really good interview.
Wonderful to meet you, Rebecca. Yeah. God bless you. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you for coming in, Father. Thank you for coming back on as a guest, Rebecca. And we set up a lot of good stuff. We got 3 interviews set up?
Yeah.
Maybe 4. I don't know. So. Yeah, JT, I also got your hand cash donation, so I appreciate that, my good friend. Thanks for supporting the show, everyone. I think we got a super chat too tonight, so thank you very much. And I think I'll be back on next week. I have no plan, but I should not be taking next week off like I did this week. I was traveling. I went to Texas and had a good time, and I met 8 people that watched the show at church. So it was cool to meet everybody Sunday. So really, honestly, kind of crazy to me that I would have that many people that know who I am in one place. I was like, whoa, let's go. So, but till next time, see you guys later.
God bless you. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. God bless.
Oh yeah. Happy Thanksgiving.